people who get it, get it.
Welcome to the Geek Speak Show. This is no podcast. The Geek Speak Show is a geek culture showcast.
God bless the geek.
This is the show where we talk about and to the movers and shakers in geek culture.
This is now the Geek Speak Show. Now heard exclusively on pknradio.com. Now here's your host, Henry.
Here I am. Welcome to the Geek Speak Show, everybody. The brand new episode. I know. I said we're going to be on spring break for a couple of weeks. We were last week. You guys heard the best of on pknradio.com. You guys heard the best of replay from way back in 2010, Season 1. Replay with Ryan Van Cleve talking about video game addiction. Yes, there is such a thing. Actually, we may even hear from Ryan Van Cleve because he's got the follow-up to his Unplugged book, more about video game addiction, more about what to do about it than just talking about it. But that'll be coming up, probably part of the book club, so be on the lookout for that. Let's go back a little bit. Like I said, the best of last weekend. The weekend before that, we did WonderCon 2012 in Anaheim. A lot of fun, a lot of rain. Rain seemed to have followed us from San Francisco, and we got it out there. We even got some snow on the way back, so that was kind of cool. But it was a lot of fun. Like I said, I met a lot of really cool, geeky people. Of course, our people out there. Met some new people. Finally got to meet face-to-face. A lot of people that you all hear on the show all the time. Justin Berger, Anthony Larice from Help 'Em Alive. Got to meet them face-to-face. Rod Roddenberry, got to meet him face-to-face. Dino was out there. Dino Andrade, you guys heard him on the Valentine's Day show. Mr. Diablo, Scott Marcano, who's always at WonderCon and at Ape and at Comic-Cons also. So we got to see him and say hi like always. And met some real new friends that you'll probably hear on the show pretty soon. And out of all the panels, Violet, she's not here, by the way. That's why she's not being quiet. She's just not here. She does believe in spring break. She'll be here next week, so you'll hear her voice again. But she's not going to be here. So it's just going to be me and all of you and some special guests that we have coming on. Some of the best panels. The best one, I got to say, many thought it was going to be the Amazing Spider-Man, but actually the biggest and best panel was the Prometheus panel, which happened on Saturday afternoon. Damon Lindelof, Sir Ridley Scott on stage, along with Charlize Theron and Michael Fassbender, who are in the movie. We got to see the 3D trailer twice. So nice, we had to see it twice. And didn't give away too much. There was one thing that's, it was sort of rumored and it was confirmed on the panel. I'm not going to give it away here. You guys can go online and search for it, and it's probably out there. Probably somebody filmed it too, and it's probably, you can watch it also. So that's somewhere out there for you guys. I'm not going to give it away here because you know how I am with spoilers. Don't really like them unless I really have to. I'll warn you guys, but not going to give that away. My favorite panel out of all three days, my favorite panel. I know I'm a big Spider-Man fan, and we met also Rama from ramascreen.com and also the Geek Tyrants from geektyrant.com, Mazer and Venkman, really cool guys, all of them. And I was actually talking to the Geek Tyrant guys, and I mentioned that, I'm a huge Spider-Man fan from the comic book to the movies and everything else. This Mark Webb one is just, I'm still on the fence about it. Still hasn't excited me. Yes, I know the trailers got you guys all excited, but I'm still on the fence about it. That wasn't the big panel for me. The big panel for me had to be this one, of course. Fringe panel. Spending Sunday afternoon with the Bishops. Nothing better than that. Peter and Walter Bishop were there. Josh Jackson, John Noble. Really fun panel. It was mentioned on the panel that John Noble actually is Walter. And just watching him on the panel, yeah, I got to agree. He is. It was like literally spending an afternoon with Walter Bishop. A lot of fun. Really fun panel. Jorge Garcia Hurley was there before on stage before the Alcatraz panel. But definitely my favorite panel was Fringe. Big surprise there, huh? And like I said, the Spider-Man panel didn't really sell me too much. I'm going to let her speak for herself when she comes back next week. I think Violet's favorite had to have been the 21 Jump Street panel. Gee, I wonder why. Channing Tatum. But, like I said, we'll talk more WonderCon when she does come back. We'll really quickly go over the stuff. If you guys want to see and hear our interviews there and our coverage, go to youtube.com/Geek Geek Speak videos. It's all on there. Just look at the WonderCon 2012. Have all the interviews, all the cool people that we met out there. Even have a little bit of the fringe panel on there. In case you guys want to see John Noble, Bean, Walter Bishop, it's on there. Not the whole thing, but there's a little bit of it, and you can enjoy that. So. Like I said, we were going to be on spring break. We did a best of last week and told you guys that we were going to be gone for 2 weeks. Well, this would be the second week, but actually, hi, we're here. Brand new episode. Reason being, there's a lot of cool things happening. Some are happening next week, some this week. And I figured, you know what? Who needs vacations? Vacation from what? So, Violet's not here. She does believe in vacations, obviously. She'll be back next week. But I'm here, and I'm going to be talking to somebody who, well, let's just put it this way. If you guys really love The Walking Dead, or as I always put it, AMC's The Walking Dead. If you're getting AMC withdrawals, especially if you're getting Talking Dead withdrawals, the talk show that comes on right after The Walking Dead. If you guys don't know what to do now that there's no Talking Dead, then I would say stay right there, because you're going to hear from the host of The Talking Dead right after this.
Hold on, the Geek Speak Show will be right back.
Now you have another way to promote your geek product besides conventions. The Geek Speak Show. The Geek Speak Show has a loyal following that is just waiting for a new app for their smartphone, the most awesomest t-shirt to show off their geek pride, or
insert your product here.
Advertise on the show or on the Geek Speak website, or on both. And you're guaranteed to reach the same audience you'd reach at your favorite con. Interested? Send an email to ads@thegeekspeakshow.com for more information and ad rates. Movie and TV studios, comic book artists and publishers and actors know to come on the Geek Speak Show to promote their projects. Isn't it time you used a show to promote your product? Send an email to ads@thegeekspeakshow.com.
Listen to us on the new home of the Geek Speak Show, pknradio.com, the talk of the net. Hear new episodes every Thursday at 8 a.m. Pacific and 11 a.m. Eastern, with replays at 9 p.m. Pacific and midnight Eastern Time. The new home of the Geek Speak Show is pknradio.com.
Hi, I'm Chris Hardwick. You are watching and or listening to Geek Speak Show. They're listening. You're consuming. You're watching it with your ears. Oh, you just listen.
Was gonna sing, but not gonna do it. I'll just say it ain't no fun if the Nerdists don't get subs. Don't go anywhere. It is still the Geek Speak Show. I'm still Henry, and welcoming to the show, Chris Hardwick. Chris, welcome to the Geek Speak Show.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming on. So, like I said, we've been talking about it here. You mentioned it. We were at WonderCon a couple of weekends ago. Those of you who weren't there, you missed it, but you get them now. YouTube channel on April 2nd. Debuting brand new shows. Talk about them.
All right. Well, it's exactly what you just said. We're doing some we're programming some new shows on YouTube on the Nerdist channel, which is youtube.com/Nerdist. And I just kind of wanted to program a bunch of shows that I would want to watch. So, we're doing an interview show with Weird Al Yankovic. We're doing a puppet show with Neil Patrick Harris. We're doing Star Talk with Neil deGrasse Tyson. I'm doing a bowling show because I love bowling. We're doing, comic book show. We're doing a cosplay show. We're doing a weird from Japan show. We're doing just a magic show. Like, we're literally just doing everything. We have a couple animated shows in the works. Ralph Sorella from Geek Time on Howard Stern's network is doing a show with us. Rob Zombie's doing a show with us. We're doing one of our podcasts, The Indoor Kids, is going to have a video show. It's all about video games. So, we're just trying to program a bunch of fun stuff.
Yeah, the weird from Japan is weird from Japan. Is that what it is?
Literally just weird from Japan. Hosted by one of the Dudesons, Yuka.
Yeah, on the WonderCon panel, you got pretty excited about Star Talk. And honestly, I hadn't heard about it before. And tell us about that. Why did you get so excited about it?
It's just huge. It's huge. I mean, like, if you're a fan of Neil deGrasse Tyson, it's just huge. I mean, he's one of the leading astrophysicists in the science community. He's the director of the Hayden Planetarium in New York, but he also happens to be really funny and just a good guy. And not all scientists can really throw down with comedians. And Star Talk is the show where he talks about real science, but then he has amazing comedians guest host on the show, like Eugene Merman or Kristen Schaal or John Hodgman, and so the show is super funny and super informative, and he's a great host, and so he's just kind of a legend. I mean, there are memes around this guy on Reddit. He's just awesome. So it was really exciting for me to have him on. And then, like, you were at the WonderCon panel and you heard me say Star Talk, and then people like shit their pants because of it. Like, so it's a very exciting thing for us to have Neil on.
Like I said, I hadn't seen him before. Now I will on April 2nd, finally.
Well, his show's not going to premiere April 2nd. The way the shows are going to work is that we're producing probably like 25 shows over the course of the next year. Mm-hmm. And so we're not putting them all out on April 2nd because it would just be like your timeline would just be overwhelmed. So, we're going to start with like 5 shows on a cycle and then start sliding other shows in throughout the rest of the year. So there will be like a programming cycle.
Do you know which shows are going to premiere on April 2nd?
Well, my show's going to be up April 2nd, and then April 3rd, I think, is Weird Al Yankovic's show, and then Weird from Japan is also going up next week, and what else are we launching with? I just saw the program grid. We can get that to you.
We also have, you mentioned also, and I have a press release here, you also have Jeff Boucher's going to have a show on there. He's big with us geeks.
Hero Complex, yeah, Jeff Boucher. Like, Jeff Boucher is one of those guys that he's like, all of a sudden, oh, hey, he's interviewing James Cameron, or he's talking to Tim Burton, or he's just gone off to Europe to interview Brad Pitt on the set of something. He's just a guy who, he's phenomenal at what he does, and he's just the guy that gets called to go do interviews with people who usually don't do interviews.
Yeah, you guys actually can go on the YouTube Nerdist page now, and it's also on our Facebook page. There's a little sneak peek video of some of the shows. Most of the hosts that are on there, they're saying, hey, and giving you a little bit about the shows.
Yeah, just a little bit. Like, we didn't want the video to be too long. Like, there was a version of the video that was almost 3 times as long where everyone was describing their shows, and it just sort of felt like, you know what, let's just let people know who's going to be on the channel and sort of give them the vibe, because I just don't know if anyone's going to... you want to. The challenge with web video is that you want to be succinct and try to be entertaining, but just get the right amount of information across.
Yeah, and not that we don't want to single anybody out, but is there one show or shows in particular that you're really proud to be able to have on the channel?
I'm super excited about all of them because they're all exciting in different ways. Like the Weird Al show, I'm super excited about because it's Al, and Star Talk I'm excited about because it's Neil and science, and the magic, Justin Willman's Magic Meltdown is unreal just because of the shit that the guy does. I mean, it's crazy. You kind of think like, oh well, it's video, how impressive, and it's so insane. It's basically just like close-up magic because the cameras are like close up on his hands, and you watch him do stuff, and you literally, even if you're alone out loud, you're like, what the f***? How did that happen? He's an evil wizard. So, I'm excited about that. I'm excited about the Indoor Kids because they're super funny. Like Kumail and Emily and Steve Agee are super funny. And, I'm genuinely like, all the shows are like my children, and I love them all the same, but in different ways.
On the other side of that, though, any shows that you did want to bring on, but you weren't able to bring on?
No, actually, we pretty much everything that we've gone after so far that we really, really wanted, we were able to sort out. As far as I can remember, I don't think there was anything we didn't get that we wanted. I can't think of anything. I honestly can't think of anything. I think there were a couple of bigger things like that were sort of like shots in the dark, like, well, let's try to get Weird Al, let's try to get Star Talk, and then we got him. So, like, or let's try to get Neil Patrick Harris to do a show with puppets, and we got him. So, we got pretty lucky. I think it's just, it's just a fun, low impact way for people to do stuff that television or traditional media would not have afforded them to do. I mean, they're all passion projects, Yeah,
that one I'm actually looking forward to. The Neil Patrick Harris dreaming in puppets, which I guess is exactly what it sounds like.
Yeah, I mean, it was basically just a reason to shoot sort of a sketch comedy show with puppets, and frame it in a way that sort of was fun but made sense.
Plus, it's Neil Patrick Harris. Why wouldn't you want?
Plus, it's Neil. Yeah, I mean, the guy is ridiculously talented.
Yeah, so again, it's Chris Hardwick, Nerdist. You guys know him. He just finished off Talking Dead. Good job on that, by the way. We
thank you.
Love it all here. So the other thing, it's going to be also on the YouTube channel, is Course of the Force. That's leading up to, I think it's preview night of Comic-Con this year, right?
Yes. Yeah, the 7th through the 11th.
Tell us about that, about Course of the Force.
It's basically a 5-day lightsaber Olympic torch-style relay run from Santa Monica to San Diego, which for those of you who don't know is probably of 120-ish miles. And it's just running down the California coast, passing off a lightsaber, hopefully in cosplay, in quarter-mile segments. And all of the money from the run segments that people buy goes to the Make-A-Wish Foundation. So this was a partnership between us and Lucasfilm and Machinima, and, you know, we're just hoping that we can create an annual tradition where people just kind of run at Comic-Con screaming and proud.
Yeah, and you can still sign up, I'm assuming?
Yes, at courseoftheforce.com.
Yeah, we'll have a link up on our link section as well as to the YouTube channel. I've always wanted to ask you this question. I don't know if you remember, we met at the Image Expo, when was it, last month or whenever it was?
I guess it was about a month ago.
Yeah, and I forgot to ask you then, one thing that I really enjoy about the stuff you do is when you have the puppets on. But why the puppets? Why the obsession with puppets?
I don't know. They're fun. It's just sort of like cartoons. You know, they can do things that humans can't.
Yeah.
And you know, like especially with Henson, who was thoroughly influential to me growing up, just for comedy and my sort of entertainment perspective. You know, it's just it's an honor to work with him. Yeah.
I would geek out if I got a chance to work with them. Your show, actually, the All-Star Bowling, it's going to be just you bowling, or how's that going to work?
It's 2 teams, so there's a Nerdist team versus another team of 4, 2 teams of 4. And my team is always me and then 3 people who work somewhere at Nerdist Industries, whether it's, you know, like Matt or Jonah from the podcast or other podcasters who are on our network, or other people on other shows from the channel, or people from the website or the newsletter, and versus 4 people from another themed team. So like we did one team that was chefs, and so it was like Harley Morenstein from Epic Meal Time and Michael Voltaggio from Top Chef, and you know, we're doing a G4 team, then we're doing a Mad Men team, we're doing a Walking Dead team. So, you know, it really is just like it's just sort of like league night, you know. It's like we're not super serious. There's a little bit of competition there, you know. There's there's money that's going to charity, but it's just like everyone bowls, and so rather than normal televised bowling, which is super serious, it's just us kind of f***ing around and having fun, and so, you know, that's our little bowling show.
Just what you do on the weekends with friends, except it's Chris Hardwick versus, you know, whatever team.
Exactly.
So again, this will be rolling out April 2nd and 3rd, you said?
Yeah.
Go to our link section, youtube.com/Nerdist. It's all on there. Sneak peek on there, and on our Facebook page, you can check it all out there. Course of the Force, you can sign up at courseoftheforce.com. Easy to remember. We also have a link up on our link section for that. Like I said, great job on Talking Dead. We didn't miss it. We loved the show. Loved your show afterwards. You know if it's coming back next season, or have they said anything about it yet?
About Talking Dead? I don't know yet. I mean, I honestly don't know. I mean, the show did really well, so I would be surprised if it didn't, but I can't say. I don't know.
Yeah, it was must watch after. It was part of the episode. You had to watch Talking Dead afterwards.
Yes, please do. In the future, if it comes back, please watch Talking Dead.
Yeah, so again, Chris Hardwick, thanks a lot for coming on. Before I do let you go, you know, we play around here a lot and everything, but seriously, gotta say, really happy for all the stuff that you've done, not only with the YouTube channel and everything that you've done. Wish you nothing but continued success, and we'll keep supporting you here on the show.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, and if you ever find yourself in San Francisco, contact us. You're welcome here on the show. You'll get VIP treatment here.
Sweet. Thanks, man.
Okay. All right, Chris Hardwick, everybody. You all know him.
Take it easy.
All right, Chris, thanks.
Thanks, man.
And all of you stay right there. We're going to continue the party with Christian and Corey from Two Cats Comic Book Store here in San Francisco, and their grand opening event happening this weekend.
The Geek Speak Show will be right back.
Tell the world about that great book you just finished reading or read when you were younger. Send an email to books@thegeekspeakshow.com and your book will be featured on the weekly book club segment. Just a few rules. 1. The book must be in the sci-fi, horror, or fantasy genre.
Or a mashup of those. 2.
Biographies are okay, as long as it's relevant to geek culture. You know, George Lucas, Stan Lee, Steve Jobs, etc., etc.
3.
No comic books, but graphic novels are okay.
4.
You must have read the book and loved it. Don't suggest a book just because my friend's cousin, sister's boyfriend's dad said it was good. And that's it. Send your suggestions to books@thegeekspeakshow.com and you might hear your book mentioned on next week's show. If possible, we might even have the writer on to talk about the book. Books@thegeekspeakshow.com to have your book featured on the Geek Speak Show Book Club. Listen to us on the new home of the Geek Speak Show, pknradio.com, the talk of the net. Hear new episodes every Thursday at 8 a.m. Pacific and 11 a.m. Eastern, with replays at 9 p.m. Pacific and midnight Eastern Time. The new home of the Geek Speak Show is pknradio.com.
Playing the music you're not ashamed to admit you listen to.
Entertainment guaranteed, and no data charges apply. The Geek Speak Show.
Are you not entertained?
Well, you should be entertained by now. Welcome back to the Geek Speak Show. Thanks again to Chris Hardwick. And now you know what to do on April 2nd as the YouTube Nerdist channel debuts. So go in our link section. It's all on there for you. That was a fun interview there. So now something more fun is happening this weekend here in San Francisco, especially for you guys that love comic books. Brand new comic book shop, the official comic book store of the Geek Speak Show. We did that 3 weeks ago, whenever it was. Seems like years ago. But back with us is Corey Christian from Two Cats Comic Book Store in San Francisco. Hey guys, how you doing?
Pretty good. Yourself?
Doing good. Getting ready for the grand opening this weekend, as I'm sure you guys are too.
Hell yeah, grand opening.
Yeah, so tell everybody what's going to happen and what can you expect when they go to the grand opening.
Depends on what time of day they show up. Basically, if you come in the afternoon, we're going to have Brian Colm coming in, who's a local artist. He also does a web. No, that's a separate thing. So Brian Colm is going to be conducting an impromptu class on how to draw from 2:30 to 4:30. So that's a kind of drop in and have some fun kind of thing. We're going to have a local webcomic crew come in, and Al Gordon may likely be showing up and signing some of his product, which just came out on Wednesday. So,
and actually, let me interrupt you guys for a second. Al Gordon's going to show up here right after you guys.
Hey, awesome. See it other places behind our backs? Oh my God, I am horrified.
Well, you said yes for your permission.
That kind of work.
Yeah. So what else is going to happen there?
Yeah. So basically, and when the afternoon comes to a close and it drifts towards evening, we're going to essentially have a party where there will be some light, refreshing beverages and snacks, and basically everyone will get together and have a good time.
Put the kids to bed, because that's when Two Cats After Hours starts.
After hours.
Another beverages, could they be of an alcoholic nature?
Nope.
No, afraid not. There's a bar maybe one door down.
So you can get him there.
Yeah, exactly. You can make it alcoholic if you want.
Yeah, precisely. We're not prohibiting anyone. It's not a prohibition.
If you were to leave, perhaps, and then come back, we wouldn't question you.
Yeah, so
it's like 2 doors down.
Yeah, so the Brian Colm thing, that's for all ages, or is there an age limit for the classes?
That's
that
an all ages thing.
All ages?
Yeah, he does a class at the Cartoon Art Museum as well. And I believe it's targeted towards kids, but this is going to be for everyone.
Yeah, so again, this is going to be happening this Saturday, this weekend, March 31st, starting at, say, 1 p.m., 12 p.m., somewhere around there?
We'll be running around doing stuff, probably drinking sodas and whatnot from about then, but Brian Colm will come in at, 2:30.
Because the store will be open regular hours that day, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Store's still open.
So as soon as you come in, we're going to start handing you goodie bags and various swag and different things that publishers have been sending to us lately. So it'll be lots of fun.
Yeah, so just come by, hang out all day, have fun, get to meet Corey, Christian, the rest of the staff. Everybody's going to be there, I'm assuming?
Just about.
Yeah, everyone. We're paying most of our staff to be there, and we're kind of expecting other people to kind of just show up randomly. So
yep.
You need to pay them to show up? Why wouldn't they just want to show up anyway?
We would kind of hope they would want to show up anyway, but we can't, make them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Not yet. Not until the device is complete.
The device. You told them about the device. I was
Spoiler alert!
about to tell them about the nanites that we're slowly replacing all of our employees' soft squishy bits with.
Anyway, we probably said too much.
Oh.
We'll cut that part out.
Excellent. Glad you have our back.
Yeah, and if you guys, all of you out there, if you guys want to go and see, you hear how fun they are. They actually are more fun in person. Believe me, we've been there. It's 320 West Portal Avenue in San Francisco. Website www.twocatscomicbookstore.com. Just spell it all out. Any special deals? Anything going on besides all the artist signings?
What's a deal? Corey, what's a deal?
I don't know. It sounds suspiciously like a discount.
Generally we're
not a 5-finger discount though.
No, we'll be handing out lots of free goodies.
Yeah, there'll be free stuff abundantly.
Yeah, free always good, and especially in this economy.
Exactly. So there you go.
Yep.
Okay, so again, that's the grand opening event happening this Saturday, March 31st, starting at 1 p.m. But the store will be open regular hours. It opens at 11, right? Or 10, is it? 10 o'clock. Yeah, so it'll be open from 10 o'clock. Find some good parking or just take public transportation right there. What's the line that goes by there?
The KLM, the 17. That's about all of it, directly. But man,
just every line but the 30.
Yeah, pretty much anywhere that goes past Junipero is within walking distance.
Yeah, so just go there. Again, 320 West Portal Avenue in San Francisco. San Francisco's brand new comic book store. You guys have been open since November, but this will be the official grand opening.
Yep.
Yeah, when we first opened, it was at a greatly diminished capacity. We only had maybe the first, say, 300 square feet of the store open to the public, and we were building fixtures and doing other various things in the back for the first 2.5 months.
It was the three of us for the first week. It was me, Christian, and one other guy, and
yeah. It's sad and lonely.
Yeah.
Hey, Corey, how's it going?
Well, I'm 5 feet away from you, so it's going pretty good.
Those were some sad days.
Yeah,
but now they're all happy.
Yeah, distant memories now. But I've been there a couple of times actually, and one you guys mentioned this when the first time we actually met you guys back at the Image Expo back in Oakland, February, whenever that was.
Man, yeah, 3 years ago? Yeah, I remember those days.
Yeah, it feels like it, doesn't it?
Back in February.
Yeah, and you mentioned that you guys you slant more towards graphic novels. You do have comic books, but it's more towards graphic novels. Why is that? Why graphic novels?
It was a lot of it was because digital is catching on, but it's catching on very slowly. The main reason, that seems to be what people think of why we switched to graphic novels, the main reason was just because they seem to be a more sustainable model. For instance, I personally don't collect single issues anymore. I find they take up too much space.
Gasp.
Not really efficient, but I still do. I absolutely will buy graphic novels. So it seemed like it was more efficient storytelling. It was more efficient.
And also the industry itself is both Marvel and DC. They tend to be pacing their single issues towards trades nowadays. So where the industry goes, there we follow. The industry itself is actually geared towards graphic novels, in point of fact, and that's where you're going to be finding the majority of your new sales. Also, new customers off the street, they're not really as interested in single issues. I mean, they'll kind of look at it and think, yeah, that's pretty cool, but your new customer is going to want a complete story, and that's really what it's all about. It's getting that graphic novel in their hands, and they can get a complete experience, and hopefully they'll be digging it so much they're going to demand more.
Yeah, and they do know their graphic novels will go in there and ask for some suggestions. And matter of fact, we do the book club thing here on the Geek Speak show, so I'm going to have you guys give us a couple of suggestions for graphic novels, because we do include graphic novels in that. So what are some good ones or some good ones to start with?
Black Sad is
Black
absolutely amazing. It's kind of a dark detective noir series of 3 stories that center around this world where anthropomorphized animals walk the streets. It kind of takes place in, I think, the 1950s, I want to say.
It has that. It's originally translated from a French comic, or it was originally a French comic. It's been translated, and it has that really heavy art noir kind of, or rather film noir kind of vibe to it. The main character is a cigarette-smoking black cat,
who walks like a man and wears a trench coat.
That's right.
But yeah, like it's crazy too, just how detailed the artist gets. Like when that character, his name is John Blacksad, gets like angry, his ears actually go back. He bares his fangs. Like the animals, even though they walk upright, they still act like animals.
Right.
Like when push comes to shove.
Yeah. Yep. We are recommending lately a lot Batman Long Halloween.
Yeah.
With the phenomenal creative team of Loeb and Sale. It's just gorgeous, stunning artwork. It's a complete story in and of itself. And if you want more, there are sequel follow-ups to it. So it's really good stuff.
Yeah, Jeff Loeb, good friend of ours. He comes on the show many times. So again, that's a couple of suggestions. And like I said, if you guys are new or want to get into it, go in there. Ask them, hey, where do I start? What's a good starting place? They'll tell you, trust me, they know their stuff.
Yeah, and a lot of folks have been out of comics for a while, and they're like, oh, man, how do I get, I used to read this, that, and the other back in the day, and so much has gone on. How do I get back in? We know how to get you back in.
Yep.
You tell us what you used to read way back when, and we will put something in your hands that you'll just absolutely think is awesome, get you addicted to those books, and next thing you know.
Well, here's another question. Actually, here's another question for you guys. If somebody comes in like that, a new reader that wants to get in, would you tell them if they want to go the Marvel way? Would you tell them start with the regular, the 616, or the Ultimate Universe?
It kind of depends on their personal taste, because I would say that the Ultimate Universe has branched off enough from the 616 that the two are actually fairly different and telling fairly different stories. If they wanted something like maybe a little bit more, I don't want to say edgy because that's such a buzzword, but like a little bit more, extreme. Something a little bit more modern, maybe even. Like I would probably recommend Ultimate. But if they want something a bit more classic, I would probably still steer them toward the 616.
Yeah, I guess with this you don't really have a choice. You got to go New 52.
Yeah, that's kind of.
Yeah, you're gonna
have made that decision for you.
Yeah, exactly. But we'll throw Kingdom Come at you if you haven't read it before. If you're like, oh man. You tell us what you like or what you used to like, and we'll find something on our shelf that's just superb.
Christian and Corey, 320 West Portal Avenue in San Francisco, Two Cats Comic Book Store, www.twocatscomicbookstore.com. Just spell it all out. You don't have to put in twos or any of that stuff. Nothing fancy. This Saturday, if you haven't been there, go see what you've been missing, especially on Party Day. Grand opening event starting at 1 p.m. or whenever you get there. Again, the store opens at 10 a.m. regular hours until whenever after dark. It's Two Cats After Dark. And who knows what's going to happen then. So we'll
what do you know? It's after dark.
Yeah, we'll be out there. We'll take our cameras and have you guys. If you're not shy, we'll have you guys come on. Not you two. I mean, the people that are going to go there come on and say hi and all that.
Corey's
stuff.
nickname is Hollywood.
What up?
Yeah, I was going to say these two guys are not shy, so I wasn't talking about you two.
Clearly.
Yes.
I'm a shrinking violet.
Yeah, and then also, we'll hear from them a lot. I am planning to do a special little thing with them, but we'll tell you more about that when the time comes.
Dun, dun, dun.
Anyway.
Yeah, so again, Christian and Corey, thanks a lot. We will see you guys this weekend.
Thanks, man.
Cool. Thank you.
All right, thanks a lot. We'll see you then.
All right.
Later.
So thanks again, Christian and Corey from Two Cats Comic Book Store in San Francisco. The grand opening event happening this weekend, Saturday, March 31st, 320 West Portal Avenue. And like we mentioned at the beginning of that interview, somebody else that you'll see there if you're going, Al Gordon's been on the show before. Al, welcome back to the Geek Speak Show.
Hey, how are you?
Doing good. So getting ready for the grand opening event this weekend?
Yeah, I'll be there Saturday, I guess, after about 1 o'clock.
Yeah, and you're going to be signing the Dark Horse Presents number 10, I think is the newest one?
Yeah, there's 3 issues that I worked on with Tom Yates, who's also kind of local up in Jenner, California, just about an hour and a half from here. We did 3 little mini Tarzan slices of Tarzan-ness, and I guess it's in issues 8 through 10. I guess 10 just came out. But we're on the cover of number 9, which makes it much cooler.
Yeah, there's a little change from, you usually use as you're known as an inker, but this time you're the writer.
Yeah. Well, I've been writing for a long time, and actually when comics started drying up for me, I was getting more writing work than inking work, and I love inking, but man, nobody calls me, so I'm just a poor little former inker, I guess, like being in the Marines. You're never really an ex-Marine, you're a former.
You're a former, yeah.
Former inker. I mean, I love to do it, and I still do it. I teach a class here in San Francisco on producing comic books, and inking and writing and stuff, and that's kind of cool.
Yeah, so the Tarzan, the story. Tell me about that story.
Tell you about it? Well, it's 3 8-page installments, and it's a little weird. I've never written an 8-page deal, and I thought, this is easy. It's just like writing one long story, one regular issue, which would be 24 pages.
Right.
And it really wasn't. It was like writing 3 of those. It was a real pain in the tuchus because you got to have a beginning, a middle, and an end, and you've got to do it in 8 pages, and then you're trying to have some personality, and it was more work than writing a normal comic book. And it was only 8 pages. I mean, it really was like writing, 3 regular comic books. But we're hoping that it gets enough feedback that we'll get to spin off of it.
Yeah, I've had to stay away from comic books for a bit just because I'm so busy here on the show. But is this an original story or a redo or reboot as they call them, or what is this?
It's completely original. It was basically a pitch by Tom Yates, and it is spun off of The Lost Continent, which was not really a Tarzan story, but and then it connects to another Tarzan story, which I can't remember the name of it now, but it's basically a bunch of stuff that Burroughs set up, and that we, in researching it, we found some holes in the way Burroughs was telling and retelling the story. So it's kind of based a little bit on Tarzan's sort of quasi-immortality, which we found. I assume they're errors. I don't think Burroughs. I think he thought he explains the story in one of the book-length novels, and then later on he recaps it, but it's not anything like the story that he originally wrote. So I don't know. He wasn't paying attention to his own story. But so we found that as a confluence and decided to kind of spin off of that. So yeah, it's spun off of Edgar, and hopefully it has that same sort of feeling. I dig that stuff, man. I love Burroughs. He gets short shrifted as being a kind of pulp writer of the time and not really legitimate, and that's silly. I think he's a really good writer. Yeah, really poetic in a real simple sense. Really cool.
Yeah, I was gonna say that movie that came out a couple weeks ago didn't help out too much either. John Carter movie.
I haven't seen it. I heard it was great looking. You didn't like it?
I haven't seen it either. I mean, I haven't heard many good things about it. I haven't seen it either. But apparently it bombed at the box office.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a drag. I know Tom liked it, but he liked it with reservations. And I said, "Oh, it was good." And he goes, "Well, it's better than every other Burroughs thing that's hit the big screen, but that's not saying much."
Yeah.
So he was fond of it, but with reservations.
Yeah,
but I'd like to see it. It looked great. The trailers looked fantastic.
Yeah. In the beginning, when I saw the first teasers and all that last year, it didn't get me excited too much. I mean, I've read some of the John Carter on Mars books, and it didn't get me too excited. And I did get a little excited, but then it just didn't go. I don't know what kept me, but it just didn't go.
As a kid, I thought Carter was cool. I think I read the first 2 books, but I read like the first maybe 6 or 7 Tarzans, and I was actually more a fan of the Venus books, Carson Napier, and I think that was mostly because the guy's name was so cool, Carson Napier. What a cool name! But that's a drag that it didn't get ups.
Yeah, there was a whole story all over the place about how Disney took a $200 million hit because of that movie, which still make up on opening day for the Avengers, so they're not really worried about that.
Yeah, I'm sure they will. It's funny, I assume it was taken pretty seriously, wasn't it? I mean, it wasn't kind of camp or kind of goofy or disjointed, was it?
No. It was a pretty serious movie. It was supposed to be. I'm assuming it's supposed to set up either a sequel or a trilogy.
A franchise.
Yeah. But I don't think that's going to happen now.
Oh, that's a drag.
Yeah.
And actually this year I think is Tarzan's anniversary, and I'm not sure which anniversary it is. I'm not sure if it's the anniversary of his supposed birth, his fictitious birth, or if it's the anniversary of the first book, maybe, or something. Could that be 1912? That's a long time ago.
I think it's a centennial is what it is.
Oh,
so it must be the
100 years
book.
since first publishing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. I'd like to get a chance to do more, but I mean, I dig Tarzan. I think it's cool. I mean, imagining some guy who's been around for 125 years, and I think that's just kind of cool. I mean, what is a person like that like? So I was really enjoying writing it, but I wish we had a chance to do more character stuff. 8 pages is not long enough to actually tell a story, a beginning, a middle, and end of a story, and actually have lots of character bits.
Yeah, and if you guys want to read it, it's Dark Horse Presents number 8, 9, and 10. It should be still in your local comic book store. Just go to Two Cats Comic Book Store. I know they have it there. I've seen it there. And Al, this weekend, will be signing. Is there going to be a limit to how many books you'll sign, or can they bring up, however many books they want? Or till your arm falls off? Is that the limit?
Yeah, what? Over like 600, 700, 800 maybe. I kind of draw the line in there, but no, there's no limit. I think in my entire time in comics, I've only had a couple of guys that came up to my table with a long box of comics. Most people are very respectful. They come up with a handful at most. But no, there's no limit. And I think the only place you'll be able to find that book, considering how comic books are these days, is probably at Christian store.
Yeah.
Because the workshop that I teach, the guys were trying to find it, and they were like, man, I went to like 4 comic stores, and they got it on Wednesday, and they were sold out Wednesday night. So it's not like you can buy something if you like it anymore in comics. It's just my particular grief with comic book stores these days.
Yeah, and if somebody brings in something other than those single issues, they bring in something, you'll sign that also?
Sure, man. Fantastic Four, Spider-Man, Wildstar, Legion of Superheroes. I'll sign anything. Even if I didn't do it, I'll sign it. What the heck?
Yeah, who's going to say anything? So it's happening this weekend, Saturday, March 31st, 320 West Portal Avenue, Two Cats Comic Book Store, the grand opening event. And what time are you going to get there, Al?
Around 1 o'clock.
Around 1 o'clock. And you'll be there as long as you want to, I guess?
I'll be there for a couple hours at least. I know Brian Kolb, who I think Brian works for the Cartoon Art Museum.
Yeah.
He's going to be doing a workshop there from, I think, 1:30 or 2:30 to 4:30, I think, something like that. So that'd be cool. I mean, especially if you have kids, man, and you want 2 hours of free time, to yourself. Drop your kids off there. Brian teaches a great class.
Yeah, he'll be there actually from 2:30 to 4:30.
2:30 to 4:30.
Yeah. Yeah, and Brian teaches at the Cartoon Art Museum and also at the Charles M. Schultz Museum in Santa Rosa.
Oh, does he really?
Yeah.
I didn't know he taught up there.
Yeah, he's got a couple of classes up there. So
very cool.
Yeah, he'll be there. It'll just be a lot of fun. Get some free stuff. Not the comic books, you got to pay for those, but there's some free stuff that Christian and Corey are going to give you guys when you guys walk in the door.
I think it's crackers. I think is the free stuff. Maybe some pretzels.
The only way to know is to go there. This weekend, 320 West Portal Avenue, Two Cats Comic Book Store. Be there. Anything else?
You do that just like an AM disc jockey, man. Like I'm flashing back to like being a kid and listening to somebody do, hey, to this weekend at KYA Radio, KYA 1260 on your radio dial. Be there or be square at Two Cats Comics.
I think you just called me old, but in a good way.
Hey, it was cool, man. That was my history, man. That's what I grew up listening to.
Yeah.
Long before FM radio.
Yeah, we talked about this when you were on last time. You've done a lot of voiceover stuff too, so you still get behind the mic every now and then.
I do. I wish I got behind it more, or whichever position. But yeah. I dig doing it. I think it's great. I love doing voice acting, especially characters.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fun when you're in a room. It sounds weird, but when you're in a room all by yourself, just you and the microphone, that's really fun.
Well, I mean, that's kind of inherent in the business, too. I mean, I had an editor once tell me as a writer, he said, always put your stuff up on its legs and walk it around the office, and say it out loud. And if it sounds stupid out loud, then rewrite it.
Yeah.
So, you imagine like people walking by my office and I'm talking to myself, right?
Yeah. So anything else coming up besides the Dark Horse stuff? Anything else you got coming up that you can tell us?
Not right now. Hopefully, though.
Yeah. And you still, like you said, you still teach the class?
I do. One night a week in San Francisco, and it's a cool class, and it's basically on creating a comic book. So we have lots of writers and artists and writer-artists in the class.
And how can people sign up for it if they want to?
If they Google me or go to, they can find me in Facebook, and there's phone numbers you can call. Actually, if you wiki me, there's a list of places at the bottom, a bunch of links. You can get to mycomiccon.com site, which I can't get into, but at least the phone number's there. And it is an ad for the class, so you can check that out.
Only in the 21st century does that not mean something dirty. Only if you wiki me.
Yeah. No, that actually was pretty bizarre, like finding out I had a wiki page.
Yeah.
And then actually, you read through stuff and you're, hey, this isn't true. This didn't happen. And then I went home and checked my stuff, and it was like, hey, whoever wrote this wiki page knows more than me. That did happen. But then when I wanted to change a couple things that were wrong, I kept getting grief from the editors over there. Like, how do you know this is not true? Because I'm me.
Because I was there.
Which is not a good argument for the first part of this conversation, because there were things I swear to God that these guys, I can't. They had my first comic book that I worked on, and I'd completely forgotten about it. Do you know who Mr. Monster is? Michael T. Gilbert's Mr. Monster. I worked with Mike on a project for his short-lived New York self-published comic called New Paul's Comics, and I'd completely forgotten about it. It was kind of cool to have somebody at Wiki remind me.
Yeah. So again, it's Al Gordon. He will be there this weekend. If you're going to be there, go up and say hi. You hear how friendly he is. He'll be the same way there. It's 320 West Portal Avenue, Two Cats Comic Book Store, starting 1 p.m. Store opens regular hours 10 a.m. Just be there and just hang out all day. And yes, he will sign whatever you bring to him, whether he did it or not, like you said.
Sure. T-shirts. I'll sign anything. Your old homework assignments, anything.
Yeah, he won't finish them for you, but he'll sign them for you.
No, but,
Oh, you never know. If you ask nicely, maybe.
Yeah, I can give him a couple of hints or something.
So, Al, thanks a lot. You're always welcome on the show.
Hey, you're always welcome to call me.
Okay, thanks, Al.
It's fun for like a 1 o'clock in the afternoon time splat.
Yeah, thanks, Al. We'll see you this weekend.
Okay, dude.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, for our next attraction...
Comics Commentary with David Lee on the Geek Speak Show.
Hey, welcome back to a new edition of Comics Commentary with me. So, all of you out there pretty much know that there's this little art house indie flick coming out in May 3rd, something called The Avengers. I don't know. It's supposed to be the biggest blockbuster hit of the summer and possibly of the year. And it's got a great ensemble cast, one of them being Iron Man. Now, in the movies, Iron Man has enjoyed a pretty illustrious couple of flicks, coming into this movie very strong. However, not all is right in the land of Starkville. I got bored one night, and I decided, well, I haven't read any comics from the Avengers, and I kind of want to brush up due to the movie hype. So I took my behind down to the town of the comic store, picked up a few trade paperbacks and some single-issue comics, and I proceeded to bone up on Iron Man. Invincible Iron Man, I should say. All the way from right when it changed to Invincible Iron Man, all the way to current run. And the first thing I'm going to say, Matt Fraction. I know somehow you can hear me. Somehow. I don't know how, but I'll figure it out. Matt Fraction, what the hell are you thinking? Seriously. I've been reading, like I said, I read all of this, and it's garbage. Since when did Tony Stark become so paranoid that he needed to delete his brain and back it up into a new one? I get that he's Tony Stark. I get that it's fantastical because it's comics, but man, even that stretches belief. You've got the fact that he's sleeping with Pepper Potts, sleeping with Maria Hill, and I'm just going, that's not really Tony Stark. I don't really see him sleeping with Pepper Potts. Only reason it's really in the comics, in my opinion, is because it was in the movies. Tony Stark and Pepper Potts had a thing in the movies, so oh my god, to get the mainstream readers in, they have to make it seem like the movies. I mean, even the artwork is drawn closer to the movies now with the armor. Not too keen on that, guys. So as the comics progressed, Stark continued getting stupider and stupider and stupider. And not to mention you had the inclusion of Norman Osborn as the director of Hammer. Now he's got all these Iron Man suits. That's just a different argument all on its own, but it still ties into this. I was already not happy with Dark Reign. Really was not. And to see it come into this super long-winded comic arc made it even more disgusting. I know you guys at Marvel like to have these long-winded character story arcs that make a lot of sense, but when it came down to Most Wanted and Invincible Iron Man, I'm sorry, guys. 10 to 12 issues for a comic arc? Too much. Way too much, guys. That's like almost a year's worth in one arc. No, not cool, guys. Come on. It dragged, it was boring, and the ending was rather anticlimactic. Stark Disassembled, the next arc in the series right afterwards in the Invincible Iron Man run, was only 5 parts, but it was equally more or less making me sit there and scratch my head going, really? This kind of sucks. There was a lot more subpar writing when it came down to Tony Stark, and he basically couldn't remember that he did Civil War and all this crap. What a shoddy way of trying to erase Tony Stark's hatred from the masses due to Civil War. I mean, that's to me it seems like that's just about on the grounds of, say, oh, One More Day. Yeah, we all remember that fiasco. Stark Disassembled melted into another arc that's all, I believe it's running now, or it's prologued, or it's on the epilogue, where suddenly the Mandarin comes back and you've got the newest Hammer, I think it's the Hammer daughters, like the twins, and you introduce this really lame Joe Schmo villain called Detroit Steel, and Tony gets a new armor, except this armor is actually inside his body. Yeah, that's right, kids. We already went from the fantastical run of Extremis, which was written very, very well by Warren Ellis, to something that bastardized the Extremis storyline. Bleeding Edge armor is what they called it. Basically, it's not the 2.0 of Extremis, but apparently the 3.0. We went from 1, skip 2, to 3, because that must be awesome. No, I'm sorry, Marvel. That sucked. I mean, I don't really care about how close Tony Stark is getting to becoming a machine. He's got wires inside his belly. You know, when I first started reading Avengers Marvel, I liked Iron Man because he was human. You know, he was just a guy that wore a suit of armor. That was awesome to me. And now suddenly he's becoming closer and closer to being a machine. Why don't you just call it Ultron and have a good day? And then that leads to my final bitch of this whole arc. And this one, Marvel, and all of you listeners, I'm especially upset about. All throughout Iron Man's history, they have really, really touched hard on the sobriety concept for Tony. He used to be a very, very terrible alcoholic, and one of the standout arcs in the 80s was called Demon in a Bottle. It was where Tony Stark realized that he had an addiction, and he had to stop, because he was piloting the Iron Man armor drunk, and he almost killed people. That hit very hard to a lot of people in the 80s, and today it remains one of the most celebrated Iron Man arcs ever. Until Matt Fraction decided to go and ruin that by basically having Tony talk to Odin because he needed help with his new armor, and he basically gave up his sobriety in exchange for Odin to give him a new set of armor. What? Congratulations, Fraction. You just spit in the face of Marvel history and one of the best arcs and best Iron Man arcs out there. So, and now suddenly, the Hammer crew and who knows who else apparently now knows that Stark drank, even though it was not known really. And so everybody's on his ass about drinking. This pretty much turned me off of the Iron Man arc right there. The whole character, the whole series. Marvel, please fix this travesty of a story arc. Get Matt Fraction off of this thing. Bring back Warren Ellis, somebody who respects the character and isn't going to go against what we all know and love about Iron Man. I mean, this is just, it's wrong. It's terrible. And you know, when it's putting off a hardcore comic book reader like me away from the series, yeah, you know it's bad. So, with that said, if any of you listeners here are curious, hit me up on an email davidlee@thegeekspeakshow.com. Hit me up with your feedback. Tell me what you think. Do you think I'm a Stark-raving lunatic? Ha! Emphasis on Stark here. Do you agree with me? Do you just want to see me toss in a fire? Write me. Let me know. And hey, you never know. Your feedback might be my next topic. Till next time, this is David Lee with Comics Commentary. See y'all on the funny pages.
It's time for the Geek Speak Show Book Club. Our books or graphic novels. Tell us what your favorites are. Books at thegeekspeakshow.com.
Okay, so I told you everything is back to normal, pretty much. Well, whatever normal is around here on the Geek Speak Show. So my pick, before I get to the picks, let me get to you guys' picks. I keep getting a lot of the emails, books at thegeekspeakshow.com, books at thegeekspeakshow.com. Remember the rules. First rule of book club, you actually talk about the Geek Speak Show Book Club. Second rule is it's got to be stuff that we like, something from sci-fi, horror, or the fantasy genre, or a mashup of those. Biographies are okay as long as it's, somebody geeky. Also, graphic novels are now allowed to be included in the book club. So if you have a good graphic novel, go ahead, suggest it. Again, books at thegeekspeakshow.com. Just send it on there. And if possible, we'll talk to the author like we did a couple of weeks ago, I should say. We talked to Victoria Foyt first, and then also to Gene Del Vecchio. So, not going to read your emails. Got a lot, again. Gee, I wonder why. The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins. A lot of people emailed that one this week. Like I said, yeah, I wonder why. And, I got to tell you guys, I haven't read it yet. I was meaning to read it before the movie came out. Obviously, the movie came out this past weekend. Haven't read it yet. So, I'm gonna go read it anyway. I'm gonna get all three of the books and read them, and then maybe we'll have Suzanne Collins on. It's gonna be a little bit harder to get her on now because big shock. The movie's just so huge, but we'll give it a try anyway. Maybe we can have a nice little conversation with her about the Hunger Games. Also, this one's been coming in since last year, actually. Ready Player One. Again, not going to read your emails, but a lot of you sent it in. Ready Player One by Ernie Klein. And actually, Ernie Klein was at WonderCon a couple of weekends ago, but I missed him. I kept missing. It's like, strangers, two ships passing in the night, or whatever. No, it was obviously really packed there at his table. People wanted him to autograph the Ready Player One book. And he also had a couple of panels that he was a part of. So every time that I went to his table, all I saw was a little sign that said, Ernie Klein is here. But never actually got to meet Ernie Klein. Did get to meet Max Brooks, actually. Really cool guy. And we may have him on. Matter of fact, we will have him on, I will say that, sometime in the future as part of the book club. Because, I've mentioned before, I love World War Z. I love his zombie survival guide. So we'll have him on to talk about that and a few surprises that he actually talked about at WonderCon. I'll leave it up to him to tell all of you what those surprises are. But I do have to pick a book for this week. So this week, my pick is going on graphic novels, and I guess very appropriate after having a conversation with the Two Cats comic book store, Christian and Corey. They tend to go towards graphic novels. It's all, you go into the store, that's pretty much all you'll see on the walls. Yeah, the comic books, the single issues are there also, but graphic novels, that's their forte. Not only Christian and Corey, but also a lot of their employees. They're really knowledgeable employees. Just ask them, they'll get you started. Matter of fact, we went there this past week, went to the Two Cats comic book store, and one of the employees actually suggested The Killing Joke, Batman The Killing Joke, which, I had to tell her it's actually right there on my shelf. So that is my pick. It made me want to read it again. So that's my pick for this week. Batman The Killing Joke by Alan Moore, Brian Bolland, Jerome Wicke, and Dennis O'Neil. Came out way back in 2008, but still stands the test of time. It was definitely one of the most classic Batman and especially Joker stories. This is one of the few Joker origin stories that actually makes sense and fits right in to the Batman mythology. So again, it's Batman The Killing Joke by Alan Moore. Came back in 2008. It's available at the usual suspects, Amazon. Got a link up on the book club section. You can just go on there. Or those of you here in the San Francisco Bay Area, if you're going to be here this weekend, if you're going to the grand opening event, it's right there. A lot of you have read it. I know that, but if there are a few of you who haven't, trust me, you don't know what you're missing. It's Batman The Killing Joke. Check it out. And that's my pick for this week's book club.
That's the Geek Speak Show Book Club. Tell us what your favorite books or graphic novels are. Books at thegeekspeakshow.com.
And that's it for this week. Another fun show in the can, as we say. Thanks again to Chris Hardwick from The Nerdist for coming on and talking to us about his new YouTube Nerdist channel. April 2nd and 3rd, rolling out the new programming, starting with Chris Hardwick's All-Star Bowling, Weird Al Yankovic's interview show, and some other shows. You can go to youtube.com/Nerdist. It's all on there. Go there now, or our Facebook page. There's a sneak peek video you can look at and see all the entire channel lineup. Good things coming, as always, from Chris Hardwick and everybody at the Nerdist. Corey and Christian from Two Cats Comic Book Store. Grand opening event happening this weekend at 1 p.m. Store opens at usual time, 10 o'clock, but everything happens at 1 p.m. Al Gordon will be there. Thanks a lot to him for coming back and spending a few minutes with us. Artist signings, free stuff. Not the comic books, just, like Al said, I think it's just crackers and soda. And you never know, swag bags. They made, Corey and Christian mentioned they would give you some swag bags there. So make sure you go there and celebrate the grand opening of Two Cats Comic Book Store, the official comic book store of the Geek Speak Show. So coming next week, another pretty awesome show. Show of hands, how many of you saw Super Size Me? How about Where in the World is Osama Bin Laden? How about The Greatest Movie Ever Sold? All of those documentaries done by director Morgan Spurlock, who will be here with us next week. He has a new documentary. It's right up our alley. Comic-Con Episode 4, A Fan's Hope. And it is all about fast food. No, it's all about Comic-Con. What else? The hopes and dreams of 4 geeks, and it's basically celebrating the geek culture that is celebrated every year at Comic-Con. The film will be opening next week here in San Francisco at the Vogue Theater, also premiering in Los Angeles. Chris Hardwick actually is going to be there at the premiere with Morgan in LA. Morgan will be with us, like I said, next week and talk about this new movie. You guys, of course, will be in the theaters watching it next week. And of course, if we're going to talk Comic-Con, besides the panels, the comics, and everything else that goes there, why else do we go there? For the cosplayers. We're going to talk cosplaying. Going to talk to a few cosplayers, including our own David Lee, who cosplays annually at Dragon Con. We'll talk to some other fan favorite cosplayers, so make sure you're here for that, especially if you're one of the few who need that little extra push to actually make you go out and join the cosplaying community. That will be all next week. See you then.
That's all for this week. Come back next week for a brand new episode, now heard exclusively on pknradio.com every Thursday at 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern, with replays at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern. Follow The Geek Speak Show on Twitter at Geek Speak Show 1. Like them on Facebook, subscribe in iTunes, and listen to archived shows on YouTube. Search for Geek Speak videos. The Geek Speak Show is powered by Collider.com, RamaScreen.com, and GeekTyrant.com. This is now The Geek Speak Show.